being able to go out into our backyard and say, oh man, this is amazing. We've grown this and done this with our own two hands.
And also demonstrating to our kids that we can live this way and enjoy it. Hi, welcome to our home. I'm Will.
And I'm Leah. We're going to tell you what we've been up to in our home and our yard for the past few years.
The heating system was very minimal when we bought the house. There's a wood stove, but otherwise it was basically electric heaters in the bedrooms on the walls. No air conditioning, or no central air at all. And so we opted to put in a heat pump mini split system that has units in each of the major rooms.
With the insulation, we had someone come out and check which walls were actually insulated and not, and had some insulation blown into the cavities, and also got the insulation redone in the attic as well, because there was virtually nothing up there too. We also insulated the floor underneath in the crawl space, which really helped with cold winter mornings. There were a number of windows that were single pane still, and so we went through and replaced those with double pane windows that don't leak air. And we were able to, in some instances, we had to order new windows that would fit the existing space, but we were also able to use some reused windows from Bring. We got a new roof. The old roof was being slowly devoured by pine needles. We got a white metal roof for the longevity of it, and also the color white is supposed to reflect heat, so it definitely helps with the cooling in the summer. We have to do less cooling, especially in the attic bedroom. We've been able to find a number of things that Bring that kind of matched the decor and style. We found some cabinets that matched our existing cabinets. We were able to reuse some old IKEA shelves and modify them so they look built in. We found some really great reused doors that look brand new, and we got to install those. So we got the yurt to use as kind of an additional bedroom, like a flexible space that we can either use as an office or the kids can run around and play in.
And we were able to make the yurt kind of an off-grid space, so Will installed a solar panel next to it and hooked it up so all of the power in the yurt is from solar.
And then we're able to use the photovoltaic system in the yurt to power tools in the yard, which is really great when we're moving water into and out of the duck pond and things.
And we have water catchment off the yurt as well, and so we have a rain barrel that collects all of that water. It's very useful.
We have actually a fair number of rain barrels because this house has a lot of downspouts that are spread out in different areas. We have some that are 300, one 500-gallon barrel, and a couple of 1,500-gallon barrels. And those are still overflowing by the end of the spring. But it's nice to have that reserve of water. And one of them is dedicated for the sandbox too, so the kids can play with water all they want and the hose isn't running. We don't have to worry about that.
We got baby chicks and baby ducklings, and they have been great. So we have a flock of 11, all female, and they lay 11 eggs a day. And from a practical standpoint, they keep down weeds majorly, and they also are a huge advantage in our vegetable garden. We let them in the winter so that they can eat all of the aphids and the bugs and the slugs, and we have a lot less trouble with things eating our vegetable garden because of our ducks.
The last couple of years, we've gotten commercial packages of bees from Eugene Backyard Farmer. It's been really rewarding because we've been able to get some honey from it, and the honey is really delicious, and the kids love watching them. Our goal from the beginning with our landscape was kind of twofold. One, we wanted to grow food that we can eat and we'll enjoy, and then two, we wanted to, maybe this makes us sound lazy, but we wanted to put in, as little effort as possible. It's a bigger lot, and so we've been trying to encourage edible weeds maybe, or edible ground cover. For instance, we have wild radishes that grow in the backyard and they keep out other weeds, but we can pluck them and have them in a salad or something like that. So we've been trying to do that in different zones around the yard.
We have some orchard spaces where we have fruit trees and nut trees, almonds and our hazelnuts. We also have our main big vegetable garden, which takes up most of the center of our backyard, and that's where we do our kind of seasonal stuff, grow our vegetables every year. We plant strawberries in our orchards because it's great ground cover, it keeps the weeds down, and then we get some strawberries from it too. So,
when we are able to eat soup that's made entirely from what we have in our yard, it tastes a little bit better. Is there's something a little bit special to that, and it's nice to know that there's not as much of a climate impact. The food wasn't trucked here. It was something that just came from the ground without chemicals or anything like that. In our yard, we've been able to use some old gates. They were originally screen doors, but we've repurposed them as gates, and they've worked really well. And we found other ones that bring, and I think they look pretty nice, and they're much easier than building a gate from scratch. If someone's interested in making their home, greener or more sustainable, I would just encourage people to take it one step at a time. Sometimes these things can be really daunting, but you don't have to jump right to a gigantic rain barrel or 11 ducks. But a little small step, and then learn as you go, because we didn't know how to do any of this stuff really when we started, and we've just kind of learned and adapted and changed plans.
Talk to people who've done it before. Talk to people at Bring. They're amazing. They have lots of ideas and lots of things to learn online too.
Thanks for coming and taking a look at our house.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
What makes the most sense to set up the first energy efficient thing that you can do? Where's that first domino that's going to make the biggest impact? And then where's the next, and where's the next, and where's the next?
Hi, my name is Beth.
And I'm Tim.
And welcome to the WM Longhouse in Springfield. We've lived here for about 7 years, and we're so excited to show you around.
So I am a therapist at Looking Glass Community Mental Health. I love the work they do.
I'm a senior research engineer. I deal with kind of a human-computer interaction and trying to understand how people use devices.
We have 2 amazing kids. They are 13 and 12. I think what originally drew us to this house was just how beautiful it is. All the built-ins, all the original pieces were just really fun. It's a 1924 house, which means it's got a lot of projects that need to be done. We are people who really care about the environment, and it was taking a project one at a time. When we moved in, we just had all the projects, and so we had to slowly start prioritizing things really as they broke. When it came time to replace the appliances in the kitchen, we would have loved to have done a lot of things, but with our limited space, we definitely were like, well, we can do an induction stovetop, and we can do a convection oven and a convection microwave to kind of improve our cooking time and reduce the amount of time that we need.
Originally, the house had gas. In fact, there's still a gas connection at the back, and I like to cook a lot. I've heard cooking with gas is great, and I did enjoy it a lot, and it was a really, really good system to cook with. So I was a little nervous moving to induction, but I couldn't be happier. Boiling water is so much faster now. Getting any of the food up to temperature quickly is much easier on an induction stove, and it is incredibly easy to clean. I was a little worried about the all glass top, but it's like cleaning a window instead of lifting the top and getting all the bits of food that are down around it inside with the gas heat. So it's been great for us, and I've had no regrets.
So yeah, when our washer and dryer finally went out, it was an exciting pandemic. It was summer 2020, and our washing machine just sounded like it was lifting off into space.
We had to work from home. It's bad for meetings.
It was rough, so it was fun to kind of take a look at what do we replace this with. We took a look at Kelly's appliances because they're a local company. We try to do local as much as we can.
One of the things I started looking into was a heat pump or ventless dryer. The initial reviews I read kind of made us hesitate. They were talking about how it takes much longer to dry. But then I started looking into it a little bit more, and it's much gentler on the clothes, and it uses substantially less heat. So this is our heat pump dryer. It's a great thing. It has this little water reservoir that pulls out the water for you, and you can use it for other things later. It has heat pump technology, so you see here, this is all the venting system. This is where all of the air comes in and goes out. So this was previously the duct or the air vent for our previous electric dryer, and now we have it's just stuffed up, to reduce the amount of heat being lost through that.
So when we finally made the push to let's do this solar panel thing, let's do it as soon as possible, and let's not delay it, I think what really prompted us to kind of take a look was just kind of sitting at home during the pandemic, having these natural disasters happen, and just go, oh, we feel so powerless. So let's just do it. There are some great energy federal tax credits, and Oregon had just renewed its tax credit, which really helped.
That helped.
And I have to say, I just feel so much better every day, don't you?
Yeah. I have an app. I'm a little of a tech geek. I have an app that shows, power consumption and power generation. It's awesome. This month,
Yes.
we were net neutral. In fact, we put more back into the grid than we took out of it, so that was good. And it's only March.
Yeah.
Or April.
April. When we bought this house, it had a lot of grass all the way around and plants that were kind of neato, but not great for the local native area. And so we've just slowly but surely been pulling all of the grass out and putting plants in that are good for bees and butterflies. And Lily just took out a whole section of grass and put in a pollinator's garden. We went out to Doak's Nursery, which is a native plant nursery, and got a bunch of plants that are great for your pollinators.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they're really nice, but most importantly, they're going to be really great. You need to water them a lot the first year, but then after that, they're pretty self-sustaining, so they are much more drought resistant. And we just get a chance to have something that's going to be beneficial for the local environment and something that's lovely to look at. I think just giving yourself kindness too for doing what you can in small ways when you can afford it, and then looking for those energy tax credits. Sitting down with Vince at Solar Energy Design really helped us figure out what we could do and what the tax credits would be, and just that consultation made us go, oh, this is doable.
The big lessons learned were anticipate the heating system break, and if you have a gas heating system, get ready. Get ready for the heat pump sooner than later. And two is insulation.
Yeah.
It's surprising how little insulation these old houses have if they haven't been converted at all. So.
Thanks for coming and being a part of our community. We're so glad to invite you into our home.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
What used to be cutting edge is now available generally on the market to lots of people. The kind of ability that now exists for us to live out our values. Hi, my name is Dennis Reynolds.
And I'm Suzanne Reynolds.
And we want to thank you for, coming to see our house. And we want to start with the first part of the house we ever saw, which is this awesome tree out front. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of the property. We have a charger capacity for electric car here, means it was wired for 220. And then we built a little studio space at the back of that, and it has now a little studio space that has a loft bed and stuff in it, that it's a tiny house. And we had to add additional electrical capacity there because we have on-demand hot water in that part of the facility.
And over here is the rain garden, our facility that takes care of all of the runoff from all of the hardscape that we built on this property. And we don't have connection to the stormwater, and so this takes care of it all.
Well, after we bought the land, the next kind of major decision we had to make was to look at kind of what kind of house we wanted to put in it. And we started looking at plan books, and then discovered that a friend of ours from where we then lived on Whidbey Island, Ross Chapin, architect, had some prepared plans for sale. They're much, much cheaper than buying a custom architectural piece, but you get that flavor of a really talented architecturally designed house. And we picked this one, and this particular design, we wanted a small footprint, and we knew we wanted 2 stories, which gives us a little more space with using less land. One of the reasons we really picked this design, Ross had a number of them, was we wanted a front porch. We wanted to be able to see who's coming and wave at neighbors as they walk by. Welcome inside, and one of the things we also liked about this design of Ross's was it's very open. One room that's the great room. Then we next looked at systems for heating and cooling in particularly. Current code requires some pretty good insulation as well as double pane windows and those kinds of things. So we've got that. But our primary heating cooling system is a split heat pump with 1 unit downstairs and 1 unit upstairs. downstairs, provides both heating and cooling, filters too. Both of those were awesome during the smoke incursion we had 2 years ago and last year's heat wave. I have asthma. When the smoke incursion happened, I would have been really suffering if we weren't able to stay inside and have filtered air coming into the house.
When we came to back to Eugene early on, I went to a 350.org meeting, and they were talking a lot about no new fossil fuel infrastructure. And I thought, does that mean I can't have my gas stove? And the answer was yes. That means you can't have your gas stove. So I was also told to look into induction. And that's what we did. And we're very pleased with our induction cooktop. It's great. In the bathroom, the shower is very accessible, and we have our low flush toilets, both downstairs and upstairs.
One of the things about, getting lots of done in a small spaces is how do you fit things in? And this space, which is called the flex room, is just not much bigger than a wide hallway, but it's office space for both of us. And back in the back, there's a little access to the attic we call the dog's room. Because the ceiling's higher downstairs to make the living room feel bigger, even though it's small, we ended up with these steps in the bedroom, which creates this sweet little bedroom loft.
And it has a
skylight
above it.
The bathroom's one of my favorite parts too, is in terms of one, the natural light is just amazing in here. And we got a number of used pieces that helped make this happen. The doorway was from Bring. This was a plain brown cabinet that we got at the Habitat store, painted it white and changed out the hardware. And this was a Craigslist score for the clawfoot bathtub. After the house was done and everything was completed, we had a garden space in the back that was on the neighbor's property that they said we could use for a while, but they chose to sell and they gave us first option, so we bought 35 more feet for a garden space. But we also scored because we had an analysis done, and in the back furthest north corner of the property is our best solar exposure. So within the next 2 years we'll be putting solar panels with a shed underneath them out there in the garden space and the additional land we just were able to purchase.
Thanks for watching, and we really wish you well on your journey toward a more green and beautiful space to live.
And how we live each day is a reflection of our values. How we live each day impacts the world. And it's like one of those old adages of, trying to be the change. And we get to take little steps in that direction through how we live our lives.
The City of Eugene has the opportunity to lead our state in the fight for climate justice and plug our city into a clean energy future. Hi, my name is Madeline Cowan. I'm the grassroots organizer with Cascadia Wildlands.
And I'm Dylan Plummer. I'm a senior campaign representative with the Sierra Club working on building electrification of the Pacific Northwest.
Electrification is a common sense climate policy that can reduce greenhouse gas emissions and protect air quality and public health in our community. Over 50 cities across the country have taken steps to mandate all new buildings to be built with 100% clean energy. Eugene has the opportunity to be the first city in the state of Oregon to pass one of these laws. Because of the large quantities of renewable clean energy in Oregon, transitioning off fracked gas is a no-brainer. In fact, one analysis shows that complete electrification in a home in Oregon is equivalent to giving up a car. The technology for electric appliances has come a long way in the past few decades. Heat pumps are able to provide both heating and cooling while also reducing utility bills and air pollution. In the face of increased climate-driven heat waves and extreme weather events, expanding access to efficient heating and cooling facilities will be critical. And it's not just heat pumps. Induction stoves have also become widely popular in recent years as they offer a compelling alternative to gas ranges without the associated health impacts. Professional chefs are making the switch to induction stoves, and I just purchased my own induction stove for my home.
It's time for the City of Eugene to take bold climate action and put in place the policies necessary to transition our city off of fossil fuels and to clean, renewable energy. It is imperative that this transition is made quickly and intentionally, prioritizing retrofit programs for low-income and BIPOC or Black, Indigenous, people of color households that have historically borne the brunt both of air pollution and of the impacts of the climate crisis. Oregon state agencies estimate that energy efficiency improvements, such as these retrofits that our coalition is advocating for, in homes can save up to $113 million per year in utility costs for these low-income households, and that these retrofits and this transition off of fossil fuels can create good-paying union jobs with access to prevailing wages and good benefits. And a study by UCLA found that electrifying California's buildings over the next 25 years would create 8 times as many jobs as may be lost in the gas industry, supporting an additional 100,000 full-time jobs a year in construction, manufacturing, and the energy sector. Oregon, and in turn Eugene, could expect to see job growth in proportion to our population and our housing stock. So it's time to take back control of our energy future from the fossil fuel industry and corporations like Northwest Natural that care more about protecting the profits of their shareholders on Wall Street than they do about protecting our communities from the impacts of the climate crisis and the health impacts of burning the fossil fuels in our homes. Cascade Wildlands and the Sierra Club are part of a growing coalition called the Fossil Free Eugene Coalition in the city, advocating for a just transition off of fossil fuels and specifically to electrify our building stock.
For more information, you can visit our website at fossilfreeeugene.org.
Hi, everyone. I'm pleased to have this opportunity to interview Abby. Please let us know how OCAN came into being.
It was 2018, like you said, November of 2018. We started meeting at Bureau Coffee Shop. I believe it was once a week. And at that point, our goals were, one, to find out organizations that were going to be helpful. Sue, you were right there in there because I remember meeting with you then. But first, organizations that were helping asylum seekers that we could maybe volunteer with near the border, whether it was San Diego, California-Mexico border. Second of all, if we could gather donations and then give them to shelters and albergues, they call them down there, because a lot of them had wish lists. And the third thing was, how can we help asylum seekers here in our communities in Springfield and Eugene? And amazing things have actually come out of this. We have a kind of a big presence, both nationally and even in Mexico, right, in Tijuana. We've learned so much in this journey. We've really learned how to make them at home here, both legally and just feeling at home.
Yeah, in an extremely complicated system. Well, thank you so much, Abby.
Thank you. And thank you for interviewing me. And I'm just very honored to get to give this talk. And I welcome all of you who are listening, both to support us and to check in and find out more about what we do and maybe even become a part of the organization. It's a local volunteer organization that's, really made a big difference in people's lives.
People, especially coming from poor rural areas, often have unmet medical and dental needs, and those need to be tended to, which can be kind of expensive unless the sponsor is able to find some source for free medical assistance. Generally, the sponsors house their asylum seekers, provide room and board, basically. But there's also legal expenses once they get here. A lawyer has to assist in filing the application for asylum. There's court hearings. They have to apply for a work permit, and all those things add up. Can be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 for legal fees. They almost all need some sort of assistance in learning English. They may get connected up with a community college or may get individual tutoring to learn English. If they have children, the children need to get set up in the schools. And it's often critical that they find a school that has bilingual support for children. And then there's social needs, which sometimes kind of get overlooked, but are really important. And OCAN has provided things like having family potlucks where asylum seekers get together and meet with other asylum seekers and the sponsors.